Welcome to Fire for Effect, Episode 1, Part 3. Part 3 of 4, actually. Broke it into bite-sized pieces to accommodate the average attention span of today's viewer. Myself and JT continue our conversation about his first few days in Afghanistan and some of the crazy shenanigans he got into while he was over there at the beginning on the front end. Before we jump into that, I want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Dean Blundell. Dean had me on his podcast. I was privileged, and it was a pleasure to be able to plug my show, sit down with a couple of Dean's regulars, Lachlan Cross and James DeFiore, and bullshit about all things Army and marijuana and a few other things. So it was a lot of fun. Check out deanblundell.com. There you will find within Dean's media arsenal Canada's biggest digital news, sports, and podcast network, which I hope to become part of soon. Without further ado, let's jump into this. Deployment. The pre-deployment shit's done.
We're done.
Beat that to death. Fuck. We went on leave, kissed your wife goodbye, packed up your shit, got your hero photo taken. You're going out the door. Task Force 309, which deployed, I want to say, like I came in later. Late September, early October. Mm-hmm. And I was, I think, a week and a half-ish behind you.
I remember beginning of October, mid-October you were there.
Yeah. So you were there first. Let's talk about first impressions getting off the plane in the dark at the Kandahar Airfield to getting a CNS to rolling out and getting in your first fun night out.
Incident?
Fun day out.
Yeah, my Ferris fun day out. So yeah, we get there. I don't remember if it was day or night, but I just remember the tempo.
You probably came in the night.
I just remember the tempo, man, because we came in, they handed us all of our shit. We did some quick lane training as well, just to confirm that, yeah, that's a bomb, don't step on it. And, you know, this is the building, that's the shitter, carry on.
How many days were you in CAF before you guys rolled? Or you flew out on a Chinook?
Chinook. I flew out on a Chinook, and I was there for at least 72 hours.
Okay, so that's standard couple days.
Because you need to draw your shit, right?
Turn in your fucking pen form.
Yep, get your pen form, get your kit. But for me, what stands out is the heat, trying to make it from water station to water station. And then the other thing that stands out for me is when I had to draw my med bag. Because that's when you knew shit was getting real. They had a very busy tour prior to us. They had lots of casualties. And you could tell, right? Like you could tell from their tempo, you could tell from their demeanor that they were busy. So I draw my bag, you count everything, you make sure.
So what's in this med bag?
It's basically everything you need to stop.
Because I had one of those TCCC bags.
Yeah.
Yours obviously's got more shit in it than that.
Exactly. So, but we had the leg bags that mirrored everybody else.
Yeah.
Had a couple other things that were in it. It was a different style of bag. But we had that bag, and then we had our med kit, which... I don't want to get too technical, but it had some different fluid in it for for deadly bleeds. Okay. I don't want to get into the complexities of that.
You draw all your kit.
Yeah. But what we have to do is we have to count our narcotics because, again, it's still a controlled substance.
Right, because you got morphine.
We got morphine, right?
Fuck, or do you have, anyway.
Yeah, because what they had at that time they're called syrettes. So basically, you'd have this little squeezy bottle of morphine that you'd jab into somebody's leg and push it, and you give them morphine. We still had fentanyl, again, both narcotics. We still had the lollipops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we still had the lollipops as well, which you'd stick into the casualty's mouth, and it would just absorb. And then the nice thing is it would drop out if they got too high. That was the best part about it. You stick it in their mouth.
Oh, wow. I did not even know this.
Yeah, we still had some of those.
It's a good thing we're doing this.
Well, but they were being phased out. So some had, some didn't. But the as any medical organization, things change. So we had to kind of collect those up throughout. But I draw my bag, do my count, and you're there and you're trying to be funny and try to de-escalate all the stress because you're freaking out. And I say to the sergeant that I'm drawing it from, like my med bag from, I hope I don't have to use any of this stuff. And he looked at me, he's like, whether you have to use it or not, you better be fucking ready, and you better know how to use it.
Wow.
That was that. I was
welcome to fucking Afghanistan.
Welcome to Afghanistan. But very professional and very on point, where it's like, don't wish one or the other, just be ready. So, grab my bag, get my trip on the Chinook, which was cool. We zigzagged all over the province, or that portion of the province, land in CNS. And right there, we're greeted by our crew. Everybody says hello, handshake, sign your papers, there's your gun, push button to start. There you go. That was it. And then that night, because we handed over the radio. So for us, I hung on to this radio for the better portion of 7 months. You're familiar with the same piece of kit. But they said as soon as that goes and you get your call sign called, you go down to the talk and you get your brief and out the door you go. And that happened that night.
You're in the quick reaction force.
Yep.
You're handing over from the existing Bison detachment that's there and doing your handover.
That's actually that's exactly what happened. So we arrived.
Yeah.
We were greeted by the Bison crew that was there.
So would you think your handover was good?
My handover was what I expected, because we got the assets that we were in charge of.
Yeah.
We knew the lay of the camp. We already had all the training. Like, we knew what we had to do if we were being deployed. And for us, a lot of it was follow the truck in front of you, take your area in the cordon. And the thing is like, for us, Chris, we never had I didn't have a major incident where if the IED crew, something bad happened to yourself, that would be our show, right? Like, we would come in, do what we need to do and evacuate people, like evacuate casualties. But at that point, I knew exactly how that process is going to work. So I didn't really need a whole bunch of handholding. So you
felt, because the question I ask everybody, especially first deployment guys, is do you adequately and competently trained, like ready to fucking do your job when you hit the ground? All the fucking nervous tension of, the first few days in theater. Everybody has them. I don't give a fuck how many tours you've been on. Like, I felt pretty comfortable when I hit the ground because I just came from there and was like, what the fuck am I doing back here? But there's still some apprehension and tension because I'm responsible for a team. But I knew 100%, without a doubt, I've never been more fucking trained in my life to do my job. So that's the question. Did you feel you were fucking good to go, or did you like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this?
Let me put it this way, Chris. There's a reason that I felt you handpicked me for this job. The first fucking day I was there and we rolled out the doors, I was ready for anything. And if someone's life could have been saved and I was there.
Well, absolutely.
If I was there.
100%.
Yeah.
I saw, again, going back to the TCCC course.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Best training I've ever been on. And you ran it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that dude's fucking ready to go to do medic shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that guy will save my life if I get blown up to the best of his ability.
And let me back that up, because I'll be honest, that's the first time anyone's ever asked me that question. It's been almost 20 years.
Well, you heard it here first.
It's true. It's like, it's been over, not 20 years. It's been over 10 years, but that's the first time I was ever asked that question. And even now, I can tap into the mind frame of myself 10 years ago and know how confident I felt in my skill set, in my training, and that I knew that if I was called upon to help my brother or my peer, I was going to save their life.
Well, not to go off the fucking rails here.
Sure.
But if we fast forward to today and your role in your unit, and I know that op tempo is not fucking what it used to be. We're in Latvia, Ukraine. There's some shit in Iraq, which I think's wound down now. At the end of the day, first thing you should be asking the troops when they come back is, were you adequately and competently trained to do your job? Mm-hmm. Because if you're not asking that question, you're not getting the feedback to fix the fucking training system.
You're failing them as a leader. You're
Yeah.
failing them as a leader.
Let's park that because that's a whole fucking conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in CNS. You've done the handover. You've cleared into the shacks. You know where your bed is. You know where to go poop.
It's true.
You know where to go eat.
I know where the pool is.
You know where that no one ever got to use. I think it's called the backup water reservoir or some fucking thing.
Is that the acronym? Never mind.
I don't know. You've handed over. You've signed for all the shit in the vehicle. They've handed over their stuff. Now it's time to roll out.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through your first call.
Okay.
Now that might not be the fun one we're gonna get to later, or was it that one?
Define fun, because there was I don't want to use the term fun.
Your first tick.
Yeah, that was first tick. Yeah,
That was your first call.
first call out the door.
Hang on, you're telling me,
Yeah.
because I didn't know this till right now.
Yeah.
And we do talk about this shit prior to recording this.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Your first time outside the wire
Yes.
is when that happened.
Yes.
Fuck. And that's your first deployment ever.
Ever. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so walk us through that. How that went down, and like you don't got to get too detailed. Just like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Was it daytime or nighttime?
So it was huge question, but I'll try to put it.
I'll let you go here.
Let me frame it.
I didn't know this was your first time outside the fucking wire.
First time outside the wire.
That's heavy.
Yeah, first time out the wire. This was the greeting that I got from Afghanistan, and I know I got a bit of a smile on my face, but I love it. Absolutely enjoyed every aspect of that tour. So we go out. We're in that area. I think we talked about it later. It ended up being like District 8. You have the skyline, and you have
So where JT's talking about Camp Nathan Smith, where the provincial reconstruction team is on the far east side of the city, which is fucked up because it feels like everything we were doing was on the other side of the city. So it took for fucking ever. Mm-hmm. So where they went, you had to drive down Highway 1, like Main Street, Kandahar City, and then you hit Sarposa Prison, which formerly held hundreds of Taliban. Mm-hmm. Now it doesn't. And then you hung a left to go south, and you got into serious communication problems back with the mothership because you're behind a place we call Fish Mountain. Mm-hmm. So that's the area the shit was going down.
That's the area that we were in.
Yeah,
because I remember it because Alexander the Great's temple.
Yeah, you can see it on the west side of that fucking road. Yeah, so that's a really narrow road too, right?
Very narrow. So
like we were scraping fucking bins.
Yeah, we were scraping walls, and the area we were up against like a mud wall, because that's all they had. Like you just built up mud, the walls with mud. We were by a mud wall. It was kind of we were on the outside of a corner, but there we were. And at first, I'm up in the hatch. I'm looking around, and so with the Bosnian, you got the hatch, and then you only have 180 degrees with the weapon that I have.
In your turret.
Yeah, in my turret. I only got 180 degrees.
You're on a medium machine gun we call a C6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I have. But we talked about this a number of times. Our trainings, tactics, and procedures that I trained for versus the crew that I was there with, because there's a gap, right? Like I wasn't with 2VP. I was with the Van Deuce, so I was with
the French.
And they were great. I mean,
the guys I handed over, the EOD guys, French EOD guys, were fucking top shelf.
Top notch, professional. They were great.
So sorry to cut you off.
No, please. Yeah.
Did you do any battle procedure to roll out?
So with us,
actions on specifically, if we come under contact, if you know. Mm-hmm. I know that shit kind of went through the window as we synergized throughout the balance of the tour, which we'll get to later. But since you're day one and you're the FNG, fucking new guy, did they walk you through any of that? And I'm not shitting on them if they didn't, because their battle rhythm is different than yours. And the RIP, which is a relief in place, when the new guys are coming in to relieve the old guys. Most deployments are around 7 months long, depending on what you're doing. And in that overlap time space, it can be a bit of a fucking colostomy bag. So that's why I asked the question.
No, that's great. So let's just back up a bit then. Let's take it back a few steps. So we still get toned out, and let's go back to Camp Nathan Smith. So this is, we get the tone out, and the procedure stayed the same from that first day till the end of the tour, where we get toned out. We go to like a central location.
Explain what toned out is.
So toned out is your radio goes off,
right,
and it says, "Hey, we got a call." I guess the best way to put it is like on Ghostbusters when she smashes the phone down and says, "We got one."
That's a terrible analogy, but keep going.
I love Ghostbusters. Anyway, so
because your kid does.
Anyway,
so, which means you do.
Which means I love it.
Right.
So you get toned out, right? We got one. We all run. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess we did run. I ran. We ran down to.
You should.
I should have. I could at that time. But we run down to it was a mini talk, so the Tactical Operations Center. And we get a quick map recce, lay of the land, where we're going, where we're going to be in the order of march. Very similar. Like it was almost like step for step on how we worked and how they worked.
Yeah. So
they're like, you're going to be here in the order of march. These are your arcs. Are you comfortable with... Actually, I'll back up. It wasn't even a case, are you comfortable with if something happens or this or that? It was just...
So you had the conversation.
We had a conversation.
Fucking into the guts.
No, but for them, they were just like, stay low in the turret. Do, just...
And were they running the same package as us? Two LAV gun trucks?
We were third in the order of march.
No, but the same package. So LAV gun truck up front, LAV gun truck in the back.
They had a LAV up front, LAV in back.
So LAVs are light armored vehicles. They're armored personnel carriers that carry an infantry section, and they've got a 25 millimeter auto cannon on it, and I believe a coaxial C6, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So they got lots of fucking guns on them. And they got 10 guys that are ready to go in gunfight. So the quick reaction force package consisted of, when I was there, 4 vehicles. 2 light armored vehicles made up of 2 sections of infantrymen, so correct, about 20 guys. A mine-resistant armored personnel vehicle, for lack of a better term, which the EOD team ran in. So I ran in that. So Jacques' team was in the one in front of you.
Yep.
And the Bison Amp. So it was the same package.
Same package, same thing.
Okay, so they basically walked you through... Are you good if this happens? Here's where you're going to go, blah, blah, blah. So you did have the conversation.
We had a conversation, but it was very quick. It's like, you're good? It's like, we're good.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and so that was that. So we went out, and the only feedback I did get, so that was the preamble.
Yeah.
Let's shoot back to where I was, where District 8, and we've got Alexander the Great's castle here.
What's the call?
The call was a bomb. Okay. Like they were looking for us to confirm it and deal with the bomb.
So coalition forces, likely the Americans.
I think it was the Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are out. So here's how this works when it comes to IEDs. Anyway, we went to a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
So you got an IED call basically, and
exactly.
We think it might have been the Americans that called it in, so they've already got a cordon set up, and you guys show up.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, so there's the hand, again, let's go back to where I was. So we're there. I've taken my spot in the cordon, or where they want me to be. I'm high up in the hatch, watching my arcs. I have one of the members of the Van Dues comes by and just says, hey, just get down in the hatch. Just stay low. We don't need you up, okay? In some kind of broken English communication, but it all worked out. I knew it worked out. I knew what he was saying.
That happens.
So I sat down, and we were there for a couple hours. We were just waiting. So I remember the sun had kind of gone down. There was a little bit of light just kind of crusting everything, and then we hear something. Like it sounds like someone is shooting. It sounds like active fire. That's probably the best term to use.
Yep.
So right then and there, my driver says, hey, I think someone's shooting at the tree line. So I pop up.
Shooting from or at?
Sorry, shooting from the tree line. From the tree line. And he says, I think someone's shooting from the tree line. And so I pop up in the hatch. I take a look, and I'm able to view the tree line. And then you can hear it again, clear as day, that someone's shooting at us. Now, there's a couple ways I kind of remember this, but I remember the rounds kind of hitting the ground, the rounds hitting the ground, and I see the dust kind of pop up.
Okay, so we're taking fire.
You're taking fire. Yeah, we are taking fire. And so that's when I get a quick nudge saying, hey, you should shoot at the tree line.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
So you're the first guy in the QRF to engage the enemy.
From where I was sitting and what was going on, yes.
Fair. I wasn't
like
there,
that's
right?
that's
so
probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Like I was the first person to start shooting at that tree line.
You get into that tunnel vision, you know, we've been shot at before, and I get it. It's hard to piece it together after. But do you remember, like, does everybody else start engaging? Does this turn into a coordinated effort, or is this just like you on your own, fucking on the gun?
Just having
lighting them up.
Having the end of life.
You got a radio on. We call it a PRR. Or you're on the means.
Yep.
You're not talking to everybody else in the package.
So that's when I'm firing and I'm saying, hey, I think we're getting engaged. Just watch the tracers. This is where I think it's coming from. So I fire, but then she jams. You know what I mean? She jams. If it's going to happen to anybody, you know.
Right on.
So she jams. And then from there, I know we talked about the package configuration, but I just remember it being an Ayala, and if you want to go into details about
it changes once you get on target, right?
Yeah.
So like how you travel and how you set up.
Yeah.
Fucking the ground dictates that.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's 28 different things that impact how you're going to set up when you get on target. Who's going to go where? I get that.
Things change.
But at the end of the day, you're communicating. You're talking to the other call signs in the QRF.
Yep.
And now you guys are getting into a firefight.
Correct.
Do the lavs open up? Do they get it on, or what's happening?
So for me, I got some bad tunnel vision trying to clear the jam, and then the Ayala comes.
Yeah, which is where you need to be.
Yeah, like
other guys are supposed to be doing their shit. You know, you need to clear that gun and get it back in the game.
Roger.
Okay.
So the one vehicle traverses though, and it comes in front of my field of fire. So I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I'm not shooting anymore. But then from there, things escalate, and you can hear it over.
It's like in Buck Hunter when the thing you're not supposed to shoot runs in front.
Yeah, pretty much. But
shitty analogy.
But over the means, you can hear that they're talking for they're calling for additional resources, and the Ayala comes in front of me, and then all of a sudden, the Afghan National Police are there with an RPG.
Oh, I'm sure they were value added.
You know, I remember this as clear as day because he's there looking at me. He goes, like, there? Like, he just looks, he's like, is it over there? And I'm like, there, sure. And he just opens up with this RPG. It is way over the tree line. I don't even know what he was shooting at, but he fires that off, gives me the thumbs up, walks away, high fives all around. Like, it was just like,
that's about right.
Yeah, it was. They have their little celebration, and I'm not quite sure what happened there. I go back to dealing with the gun, and then all of a sudden we have a bunch of Kiowas. So these are the smaller helicopters that the U.S. would use.
Seamus call signs. The armed up to the nuts.
Yes.
They're little mini gunships. They're awesome.
And they decide to open up on this tree line, and if there was anything that was alive there, within, I would argue probably like a 200 to 300 meter radius, it was no longer alive. That happened, and then from there, I basically got the universal signal of like, just get down in your hatch and chill out. So I sat down, some time went by, and then they got the all clear, and that was that. They didn't actually find anybody in the tree line. So they're not sure if they just kind of fired and like took off, but that's how that incident closed up. I'm not even sure what they did with the...
Oh, so you guys did a BDD.
Yeah.
Or BDA.
is what's
Battle
that?
damage assessment.
Correct.
After to see what you actually did.
Yeah.
Right.
So nothing was confirmed, and we packed up and then we left because they went back to try and find the IED we were called for, and I'm not sure where that ended up.
No, it's neither here nor there.
And then we all
Wow.
went back.
So that's fucking rollout number one.
Number one.
So how'd that feel when you got back?
It's interesting.
Were you vibrating? Like, did you know?
Yeah, like adrenaline's running. I was trying to back up the Bis-Nam in our parking spot. I was messing that up big time, and I was just getting chirped by my driver, and he's just saying, "Hey man, all these guys are laughing at you like you look like a joke." I was like, "Well, I appreciate the feedback." So we back it up. Life's good, and then I'll never forget some of our leadership, like the 2VP leadership, had been there before, came right out, said, "Hey JT, how you doing?" I'm like, "Well, that was interesting," and he's like, "So you had your cherry popped. It's good to get it done at the beginning. How about we go get something to eat? Maybe something to drink." You couldn't have alcohol there or anything like that. But I just remember having a peanut butter sandwich and a glass of milk, going to bed, and getting ready for the next one.
That's, you know what, the peanut butter sandwich is the preferred go-to of a post-firefight fucking event, right?
It was delicious, man.
There you go.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Well, there you go. That's fucking day one.
Yeah.